Okay, this is a 2005 Highlander. Now, where's the best place to, okay, so to give you some perspective, this is the driver's side, front. Now, this bolt here, it's off, but I mean, the nut's off, but the nut is 17. Put a wrench on it, but that's not how you loosen it. You need to come to the other side from the other side. Let me see. Autofocus. And see this rather large so this is 19. Okay, 2005 Highlander. This is the driver's side. This bolt right here is the one you loosen. It's 19. The nut on that bolt, and this is the front, this is the back. This is a 17. You want to loosen it from the 19 end, and you got to get it underneath it. But you also have to take this out. Okay, 2005 Highlander, and this is the driver's side. So, just to give you some perspective, you want to loosen from the top. This 12 millimeters. This is fused and welded, or at least appears to be, to the frame. So you have to come from above. One other thing, when you loosen up the top of this, when you loosen this up from the top, use a flex head here, not a socket wrench, because as you get higher, it becomes closer, and you won't be able to get your socket wrench out. So this is 12 millimeters. Right here. Just to give you some perspective, this is a cordon rack and pinion. It looks like it's pretty high quality. Notice it comes with this bracket already on it, and it has these two pressure hoses on it. That's what it looks like on this side. And this is what it looks like on this side. And this is the driver's side, and this is the passenger side. Hope that can be a help to somebody. So it was basically inevitable. I'm gonna have to take this off. I was thinking that I could get that bolt out, but there just isn't enough clearance. Make sure you lubricate this on the other side, this bolt on the other side, so as it's coming out, it comes out a little easier. Okay, so this is a 6 millimeter Allen on a 17 wrench. Okay, I am in the 2005 Highlander, and I'm on the passenger side now. And see this little bolt here? It's 12 millimeters. For the clearance, I had to use a 1/4 inch drive socket because it was just too small of clearance. Okay, so I'm back over on the driver's side. So once I got rid of that sway bar linkage on both sides, I was able to move it back, and I have plenty of room to take this bolt out. I don't think I had to even mess with this thing right here. I think that was just a waste of time. Okay. So, here's the bolt. And notice there's threads at the tip and threads at the base. And it goes like this. And this is a 19 millimeter head. And then this goes on like so. So we're getting there. Okay, so this is the driver's side, this is the passenger side. This line is very easy to pull out, but to get this one out, the one in green, you have to loosen the bracket over here, and that'll make it a lot easier. So that's that piece of it, and there you go. Okay, driver's side. Now we are ready to wow. Okay, so I'm on the driver's side and I'm looking up, and that bolt, so just to give some perspective, that bolt right there is what I need to undo, and I can pull the thing out, I think. Okay, so this is the return line. I've unhooked the return line. So this is the return. Beware, this looks like it's filled, but it's not. This is a stain. So I'm gonna get a new one of these, but this is the return line. This is the supply line. And there are two places that you have to, there's one down here, and then there's one on the other side of this. And then, this is on the driver's side, obviously. There's one I just undid. So there you go. Okay, I got the return line out. So this is the return that goes actually to the reservoir. Okay, so that goes into the return portion of the power steering fluid reservoir. It comes around, and there's several clamps. You couldn't get this whole thing out in one piece. You have to use the clamp. You have to undo those clamps. This comes around, and down here is by the wheel well, and then it wraps around, and this actually goes into the power steering right there. So there's the power steering return at the power steering rack, coming back around like this. Okay. This is the return line. That's not. This is the return line. Okay, so to put in this first part of the return line, you have to take the rubber hose off both ends, and you need to fish it down here underneath the AC line, you know, and then twist it around and to get where it needs to go. So right down here underneath the AC line, and then twist it around, and there you go. When tightening these, I would tighten the bolt down here before I tighten the bolt. Where is it? Right there, the gold one. So do this one second, do this one first, then the rubber hose attach here, then the return line. So oddly enough, the new one I purchased ends here. So there's this expectation. If somebody could leave some comments, I would be curious. This section is from the old one, which seems just kind of odd. Since I'm attaching this, one thing I did was I put the clamp up here, because this thing makes it hard. I put the clamp up here, pushed it on. Now I'm going to clamp this over on the return hose. On the return hose, you will see, on the return hose, this is what goes into the power steering rack. The new rack comes with a new O-ring, so you don't forget to take this off. When you're looking at it, you can miss it very easily. When doing this next section of line, install that one first, and then go up and install the one in the front at the base. Right there. And the reason why is it's much harder up here. When you do this other one back here first, you can go to the front, put your screw in the gasket, and then it's easier to see, and you can lay it right into the female portion and just screw it in. Okay. Before I go any further, so I've taken the new axle, mounted it. I've not put the sway bar back on, but the high pressure line, well, first of all, there was 2 tabs plugging up the high and low pressure lines. Before you install this, loosen those up so they're barely on. It makes it a little easier. Next, I'm installing the lower one, which is the high pressure line. I need to change the little seal on it. I decided not to put in a new one. I just don't have the energy. And that's something you don't have to take out the steering rack to do later on. So this is what I'm doing now. Okay. So to tighten these up, the return and the high pressure line, again, the one I've got in right now is the high pressure line. It's on the bottom. I'm on the floor looking upwards. To get that thing in, first of all, you're going to need a stubby 17 millimeter, but you really have to force it in. You got to push it in as deep as you can and then start to tighten, and it'll work. Now, I'm not going to go all the way with it yet. I'm going to do the low pressure line before I tighten both of them. And the low pressure line I don't have hooked up to the rest of it over to the passenger side, because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And I haven't put on the sway bar yet either, just to make things a little bit easier.